Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. Brian, Mr. Smith Kitchen, as always. And today's Thursday. Thought we'd do some baking. And we're going to do a cheesecake. Because we haven't made a cheesecake in forever, and they're my favorite things to eat next to pie, all pies. But cheesecake's got to rank second, cake's being third. But this cheesecake I found online with, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of their site now. It's like Sugar, Salt, and Love or something like that. Sweet Sugar and Love. But anyhow, it'll be down right here somewhere on the screen. And but it's an animal cookie. You know, the animal crackers. Well, they're animal cookies. There is a difference. Cheesecake. So like these ones right here. You know, different critters. That's a buffalo. It's got some icing on it. These ones are iced. And there's a reason for that. They're also one of my favorite old school cookies. I remember these as a kid. Rather the circus cookies. So anyhow. Sorry. But we're going to make a cheesecake that has those as the crust. Has them infused in it. Has a nice white chocolate ganache on it that we're going to color to be pink to match the color of the frosting on the cookies, and do a little bit of light decorating on it. I think it'll be awesome. But that being said, if you're new to my channel, welcome. This is your first video. Thank you. I hope you get something out of this video. Check out some of my others. If you're returning, thank you. You're a glutton for punishment, but I appreciate you all the same. I never take your guys' time for granted, and I appreciate the fact you hang out with me, even if it's just for a little bit each day. And hopefully you do some cooking and baking with me, you know, or at least take these ideas and, you know, make them or create something or, you know, things like that. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below me, along with the notification bell, let you know my videos come out. Try to put them out twice a week. Sometimes life gets in the way. We're a family with full-time jobs, so occasionally, not very often, but occasionally, things get a little wonky. Thumbs up, thumbs down does two things, much like subscribe it. Well, the thumbs up, thumbs down let me know if I'm doing okay, or you like the video, you didn't like the video, or you're trolling me. But it also gets out in the algorithm, gets us out in the algorithm, helps our community grow. We are getting all kinds of new subscribers every day, and that's awesome. That is just awesome. If you are new, this is your first video. My channel is basically about food, all aspects of food. Whether it be some gardening, some canning, cooking, baking. If it can revolve around food, even automotive repair revolves around food. Because you got to be able to get to the grocery store, the farmer's market, you know, things like that. But, you know, food. That's what we do. And trying to be a good neighbor through food. You know, whether it be sharing the cheesecake we're about to make or making up a soup and inviting family over or friends, you know, and taking care of one another. So anyhow, that being said, comments, love comments, keep them civil. You don't have to agree. Just think before you type. That's all I ask. That's part of being a good neighbor. Good neighbors don't always agree, but they keep it civil when they do, and they, you know, try to see the other person's side of things. So that being said, I think I hit everything. Subscribe, notification bell, thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, Facebook. Check out our group, Mr. Smith's Kitchen, on Facebook. And we do all kinds of cool stuff there. But I think that's it. I think we got through the gamut. Always just so much to say at the beginning. So let's get down here to the counter, and we'll start going through what we need, first steps, processes, things like that. And that way we can get her done. All right. I will give you your measurements in cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, also in grams. But we'll talk about that more when I get down to the counter. All right. Hold on for me 1 second. Okay. So we are down here at the counter. And the first thing we need to do is make our crust. Crust is really easy. It's only 2-3 ingredients depending. First thing you will need though, 9-inch springform pan. Springform pan means that it opens on the side like that, like a spring, and opens up. That is very important when making cheesecakes. I keep 9-inch, 8-inch, 7-inch. I think we got a 6-inch, a 10-inch. I got a springform pan for every occasion. The other thing you would need, I highly recommend, is a scale. Accuracy is essential in baking. This is like science. Baking is more like science than cooking. Because you have to be precise if you're not precise, things can go wonky really quick. So now I'm done with my lecture on scale usage, although, it's just important to have one. You have to excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold running, and I don't like it. All right, so to make our crust, it's really easy. We have some of the frosted animal cookies that I just simply ran through the food processor and ground up. If you don't have a food processor, you could just easily put them in a freezer bag and whack the hell out of them with a hammer, a mallet, rolling pin, whatever you have available, but you want to get it fairly fine. All right, and to that, hold on for me 1 second. And to this, we're going to add 2 tablespoons, 28 grams of melted butter. All right, and you want it melted. You don't have to have it blazing hot. It can cool a little bit, but you want it melted, and we're just going to pour that in here. Now, here's where the third ingredient comes in, and if you're using salted butter, which is actually, this recipe actually called for. Hold on, we're going to close this right quick. See if I can't cut out some of that light blaring in. There we go. If you're using a salted butter, like I said, that the recipe called for, then you don't need it. But I don't use salted butter in anything. I prefer to control my own. So I'm just putting a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in. And then what we're going to do is, if you're good with a food processor, you could do this all in the food processor right after you grind up your cookies. I never seem to be able to get it incorporated good enough that way, so I prefer to do it by hand. That way I know the butter touches every single thing in it. Now I am following this recipe verbatim. I have the recipe as always written down in my book right here. And then that way, I can try the recipe, right? And then if it needs to make adjustments, I most certainly will, based on that. So get that in there. So I already think that's not quite enough butter, but we will see. Okay, I wasn't quite happy with the amount of butter that we were using. It just seemed to soak it up really quick and didn't touch everything. So I went ahead and did 2 more tablespoons. So we've got a total of 4 tablespoons of butter in here that we're gonna get mixed up real quick. That's much better. Because what you're looking for, what you should have with your crust, is I should be able to squeeze that together and see how it held. It wasn't doing that a second ago. And you want to make sure that you get it as coated as good as possible on these pieces, because what's going to happen is we're going to put it in the oven, bake it, it's going to melt and get all over everything the butter is completely, and then we're going to pull it out and it'll harden. So the next thing we want to do is take our crust here and we're just going to pour it into our springform pan, just like such. And I'm sure I didn't tell you prior to, before you start your adventure, you want to go ahead and start preheating your oven to 325 degrees. All right, so we'll get this there. All right, we got our crust smashed down even on the bottom of the pan. Now, when you get to, after you get it down there nice and even, take a cup or something of that form and push it down on there. That way, because you want it packed solid. No different than doing a graham cracker crust for a pie. Oven is going off, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in the oven for 10 minutes, and then when it's done, we'll pull it out of the oven and set it on a cooling rack. And in the meantime, after we pull this out, we'll go ahead and get started on the filling. All right, I'll be back in just 1 second. This timer's going off for the crust. Sorry, my brain just wasn't quite there. And see how we've got a nice golden crust now? So we're just going to set this on a cooling rack and let it cool. Alright. It is now on the cooling rack. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our oven down to 300 degrees from 325. And of course it's going to let me know that it's already at 300 degrees. And we're good there. So now we got that out of the oven and set aside. We can start working on our filling. The first thing we're going to need, since this is a cheesecake, is we're going to need cream cheese. We're going to need 3 blocks of cream cheese. 24 ounces of cream cheese, or 678 grams. And we're just going to put that in our mixer. Now you can use a hand mixer. But if you're going to, I'm going to use my stand mixer because I have one, and why not? And if you're using a stand mixer, use your paddle attachment. And to this, we're going to add 1 cup, 200 grams of sugar. All right, and it's just regular old granulated sugar. And we're going to add 3 tablespoons, 24 grams of all-purpose flour. All right, and you want to make sure you sift your flour before you put it in your pan. So I just sifted mine into the cup. And then we're just going to turn this on low, and we're going to let this go until it gets nice and creamy. It's going to take about 5 to 7 minutes. We don't want to go on high. We don't want to incorporate any air into this. Remember, cheesecake is a dense cake, and you don't want it to be nice and fluffy. So, I mean, unless that's your end game, and then, you know, have at it. But I'm going to mix this no higher than medium speed until it's nice and creamy, about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so we been running about 5-6 minutes. Now, one thing I did forget to mention when we first started spinning this is keep a spatula nearby. Spatula is always important. It's probably one of the most important tools in your arsenal for baking. But what you want to do is you want to, you know, every couple minutes, you know, since it's running so long, every mixer, whether it's your hand mixer, your stand mixer, will create a dead spot in your bowl where it doesn't really hit. So every once in a while you want to get in here and you want to scrape it. Make sure you don't have any big chunks of sour cream, anything like that. You know, or even small chunks, like itty bitty little ones, they're okay. They will melt. But sour cream or cream cheese is not friendly when it comes to melting. It takes a lot. So you want, this is right now is when you want to look at getting this the smoothest. So now that we've got that taken care of, the next step we got is to wipe off the side of the mixer where I just got cream cheese and sugar all over the side of it. There we are. So our next 2 ingredients are going to be 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of vanilla. We'll put that in there. And then I've got 1 cup, 230 grams of sour cream at room temperature. You don't want, everything should be at room temperature. I mean, really, unless the recipe calls for it different, and like if you're making icing or something like that, that stuff you want cold. But for the most part, all your dairy, eggs, things like that should be at room temp. So we're going to get those 2 in there, and then we're just going to mix this on medium, low until they're combined real well. All right, we got those incorporated. Once again, grab our spatula, give this a good once around, make sure we got everything good to go. You can never scrape enough, especially when it comes to cheesecakes. Yeah, well, I mean any cake really. Yeah, scraping and making sure everything's mixed is key to having equalness in every bite, making sure all the ingredients are together and playing with each other. Yeah, there's just a lot to it. That off of there. Like that. All right, we're down to just a couple ingredients left. This really is a fairly easy cheesecake. All right, so the next thing we're going to need is 4 large eggs, 200 grams-ish. Eggs are a natural item, so they could give or take a gram, but you're going to need 4 large eggs all the same. We're going to start our mixer on low, and then we're just going to put 1 egg yolk in, or 1 egg at a time in, and we're going to beat it until you no longer see the yolk or the egg. It'll just be until it's incorporated. All right, we got our last egg in there. Get that incorporated. I think we are good to go. And then we are actually done with the mixer as far as that goes. But before we go breaking it all apart and taking it away, you want to make sure everything is, you know, one more time to scrape. You can never scrape your sides enough. Get that off of there like such. Because we want to make sure you don't have any like really white streaks in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Nah, not really. but there's like some white streaks, a little bit yellow. We want to make sure that that's all one good solid color. And this will be our last chance to make sure we don't have any big pieces of cream cheese, which we don't. They actually look really smooth. That is awesome. So the next thing we need to put in here, be the last thing. Next thing we need though is 2 cups, 208 grams of just chopped up animal cookies, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take about a cup of this, about half of it, completely up to you, and we're just gonna put it in our mix, right? Just like that. You know, and this is one of those things you could add more, you could add less. I don't know if I'd add a whole lot more, but you could definitely add more or less. And then we're just going to stir that in. Just like such. Oh, this looks amazing. It smells fantastic. So, and if you're wondering what's in the pot, I'm actually cooking something. We're making chicken broth. Me having a cold reminded me that we needed to make more chicken broth, because chicken broth is one of the best things if you're sick. There's so many probiotics in chicken broth. But anyhow, all right, so we got those mixed in. So the next thing we need to do is clear up this mess real quick. Go get the crust in the springform pan, and we'll move on to the next step. Be back in 1 second. Okay, so the next thing we need to do before we go pouring our batter in is we've got to take some aluminum foil. Now, I recommend when you get your foil, you get the big 16, 18-inch wide pieces of foil, because you want one piece. A 12-inch piece of foil, your standard aluminum foil, you'll have to use 2 pieces, and you run the risk of that seam allowing water in, because we're going to water bath this. So all we got to do is take our foil and wrap it around the edge here. Yeah, we're going to cover this pan, because with water bathing, we don't want the water to get into the cake, so to speak. So we will put this on there. Okay, got our foil on there, looking good, not torn, any of that nonsense. So now we can put our batter in. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour half our batter in the pan, just like such. There is that. Get that smoothed out a little bit there. There's that. And then those cookies that we saved back, we're going to take those and we're going to sprinkle them on, just like such. Tell you, this thing's going to be packed full of cookies. And then, now we got those on there, we're going to set that bowl to the side, and we'll put the rest of our batter on over top of it. All right, now we got that in there. Just go ahead and smooth this out. Just like such. Make sure we get down all the nooks and crannies. Got that. Then I'm just going to real quick go around and make sure none of my foil is in the cake. Okay. So we got the foil, a couple spots that were in the batter out. That way it didn't cook into the batter. If it does, it's okay. It's not like it's going to truly hurt anything. It'll pull right out. So the next thing we need to do is take our cake. We're going to take our pan that we're going to water bath it in. You want, yeah, I use this, I've been using this roasting pan forever and a day, but you want a pan that's at least a couple inches deep and will hold your 9-inch pan, right? And then we're going to take our we're going to take some water, and we're just going to pour it in here. So it's about about an inch, inch and a half up on the pan, right? So you don't want to fill it all the way up to the edge. I mean, if you've got like a deep pan you're putting it in, you don't want to fill it all the way up to the edge of the cake. What this does is it helps balance and slow down the cooking process so it cooks slow, all right? So it'll bake slow and even. Keeps it from cracking. The moisture that's going to come off of this as it steams it, it is going to help keep it from cracking. So let's get this in the oven real quick, and we can talk about how long to cook it for and all that good stuff. Or bake it. Guess we're not cooking anything, we're baking. Oh, let's get that in the oven. Okay, we got her in the oven. Whew, mission accomplished. So that actually was really not a hard cheesecake at all. And I can tell you by the little bit of batter I got on the fingers, it tastes amazing. So far, things could change though. I don't know why. Okay, so we'll let this bake for an hour and 25 minutes. And then when it's done, we're just going to turn the oven off. We're going to leave it off, and we will let it sit in there without opening the oven door for 30 minutes. Now, we'll know it's done when we pull it out after that 30 minutes. It will be firm around the edges and just a little jiggly at the top. You'll see. So, I'm going to let this bake for an hour and 25 minutes. I'm going to turn my oven off, let it sit in the oven for 30 minutes. And when I come back, we will pull it out of the oven and see what we got. All right, I'll be back here shortly. All right. Boom. Got to let her bake for an hour and 25 minutes in the oven. Whew. We let it sit for a half hour, and we still cracked. That's all right. But now, all we got to do is, there she is, right? Oh, in all its fame and glory. So, things we're looking for. We want to see how it's jiggling a little in the center. I don't know if you can see that real well or not. It's just lightly jiggling. That's because it's still warm. That's about what we're looking for right there. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to take this foil off of it. Yeah, and this is really probably the longest process, is just letting it cool. You want it to cool slow. Now, these cracks here, the reason why there are cracks there, I don't know if you can actually see them. Let me get you down here where you can see a little better, maybe, for a second. But if you look, there are some cracks. Now, those cracks can be caused by a couple different things. It could be because it just cracked. I mean, cheesecakes will crack. That's kind of the beauty of cheesecakes. But chances are good, because it's not dry. It's not completely set, so I know it's not overbaked. But where we put the animal crackers in it, or cookies, in the mix, the ones near the top have allowed it to split. So, which is okay. I'm not sweating that at all. Now, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this out of the foil, just like such, and we're going to put it on this rack right here, and that way it can cool down to room temperature. So we let it bake for an hour and 25 minutes. We turn the oven off. We let it sit in the oven for 30 minutes. With the oven off, just letting it do its thing. And I somehow managed to still get a little bit of water in the foil. Not sure how that happened. That's all right. I don't think it did anything to the crust. Seems like no matter how hard I try, something seems to go awry. All right, transfer complete. So now we will, our next step is the long process. And I mean a long process. We are going to quite simply let that cheesecake sit and cool completely down to room temperature, which is going to take an hour or so, right? Hour or two. You'll see it start to come off the sides. And then once it's cooled down to room temperature and you can grab it and it's room temperature, I'm going to put some saran wrap on it. And then I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it completely cool down in the fridge. All right, so that way it's completely cooked, it's completely cooled, and down to temperature. Sit in the fridge, excuse me, a minimum 5 to 6 hours. Best practice overnight. So, but seeing as it's early enough in the day, I'm probably, because it's just now 12:30. So I'm probably going to let this cool down out here, room temperature, be around 2:30, and then I can stick it in the fridge and let it cool till probably, I may even let it cool the next morning. We'll see. But anyhow, room temperature, refrigerator, completely chilled. And when I come back, we will make the icing that's going to go on top, the white chocolate ganache, and do a little decorating. All right, so I'll see you here in just a minute. All right, so we've let our cake cool in the fridge for many hours now. I got busy, sidetracked actually the next day. So next thing we need to do is make the ganache that's going to go on top of it, and then we'll pull the cake out of the fridge. So let me get you back down here to the counter, and we'll make the white chocolate ganache that's going to go on it that we're going to turn pink. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, down here at the counter again. And in this bowl here, I've got 6 ounces, about a half a bag, a little over half a bag of white chocolate morsels. And I've got a 1/4 cup, 60 milliliters, 60 grams of heavy cream that I heated up in the microwave. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour that on there, and I'm just going to let it sit. All right, we're not going to do anything with it. We're just going to let it sit. And what that milk's doing is that cream is doing is it's melting the chocolate, basically. We're going to let it sit for like 2 minutes, and then we'll stir it up, and we'll have our ganache. Ganache is really that easy. Here is our cake, right? Nice and chilled, looking good. So we're going to go ahead and get the ring off of it. See how it turned out. Looks beautiful. Right there we are, right? Looking good. And if you hold on for me 1 second, I will go get something we can put this on, because I forgot. Be right back. Okay, got something to put it on. And got around that, grab a spatula. We'll just bring this underneath like such. Maybe. There we go. That way we can get it off the tray here. Voila. Ah, broke a corner. That's all right. Get that shoved back over, maybe centered. That really did turn out quite pretty. I like it. All right, so we got that there. Good there. We've got our ganache that needs to be mixed. So all we have to do is grab a spoon, and it doesn't matter if these are white chocolate, chocolate, you always start in the middle and just keep stirring, and eventually work your way out to the edges. All right, so we are now nice and melted. No lumps, no clumps. Now I've got some pink food coloring here, food gel. And we're just going to put a couple drops in here. And then that way we can get it to look like similar in color to the animal cookies we just put on here. I want to call them animal crackers because that's what I grew up calling them. But technically they're cookies. There is a difference. Animal crackers are flakier. The dough is actually folded as you make them, instead of like a standard cookie. They are more like a cracker. I think Circus makes those, if I remember right. But there we are. We got a nice pink chocolate ganache that nobody will ever know it's pink. And we're going to take our cheesecake, and this is why it was okay if it cracked on top, right? Because we're about to cover it with the ganache, and then that way we don't have to worry about the cracks. Nobody will see them anyhow. Go ahead and get this on here. You don't have to worry about the ganache running off the edge, really, because the cake is cold and the ganache will firm up almost immediately because of that, which is good. I mean, yeah, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to play with it, but not so much that, like, if you don't want it to go off the edge, it won't. I don't think. But if it does, it's okay. Whatever. Because it's about to go off the edge on me. I think we'll be safe. We got our ice ready to go. So now all we have left to do is make our whipped topping so we can decorate the top of it. Alright? Hold on for me 1 second. Let me get this all straightened up. We'll get the mixer out and make some whipped topping. Alright, be right back. Okay, so let's make some whipped topping. What do you say? That way we can dollop the whipped topping on the top of this cake, or however we feel like we want to decorate it. Alright, so in my mixing bowl, I already have a half a cup or 120 milliliters, 120 grams of heavy whipping cream right there. And to that, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Sorry, I really had to think about that for a second. I got an ear that's plugged up, bugging the hell out of me, and I can't really think straight. I'm going to add this 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of cream of tartar to it. And all cream of tartar is a stabilizer. It won't let me over whip it. As good as I like to think I am at times at making things, this ensures that I won't turn this into butter. And then I'm going to add to this 4 tablespoons, 29 grams of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, icing sugar. It's got like 200 names. And then we're going to start whipping this. And we're going to whip it till we hit about a soft peak. Well, we'll say, no, we're going to say a hard peak. And then we're going to add a half a teaspoon, 2 grams of vanilla to it. Okay, we're starting to form stiff peaks. Turn that down a little bit so you can hear me. And so now that we've started to form stiff peaks, we're going to go ahead and put our vanilla in there and continue to beat it until it's incorporated and everything's fully stiffened. Alright, I think we have formed some stiff peaks. So to make sure your peaks are... the reason why they call it stiff peaks, if you've never made whipped topping before, is because you should be able to put it in your bowl, pull it out, and see how that doesn't fall over. It just sits there. It's because they're stiff. You know, if they weren't stiff enough, that little section right there would droop over bigger than life. But that is how you make a whipped topping. Now, normally when I make like a large batch of whipped topping, I use granulated sugar. I don't think I've ever actually used powdered sugar before. So now we just got to get everything kind of cleaned up a little bit, mixer out of the way. We got everything cleaned up, mixer out of the way. Go ahead and get our whipped topping here in a little bunch. And all I'm going to do is put it in this piping bag right here. I always used a big piping bag, never saw a need for like these little disposable ones, but they're actually kind of handy now that I have some. For my birthday this last year, Chris and the kids got me a tip set, and it's a floral set so I can make different flowers. I haven't had a chance to practice a whole lot with it, but I can't really wait till I get the chance to make some flowers. I mean, I've made some flowers, but nothing. It's got over 160 pieces to it, so it'll make flowers. Lots of flowers. All right, got that there. Grab the end here, push everything down, get to the tip. All right, let me go grab the cake real quick, and we'll do a little bit of decorating. Be right back. Okay, got the cake out. Now, when I put it away, so we can make the whipped topping, I put it in the fridge. And that firmed up that ganache, which looks amazingly good. So now we're just going to put a handful dollops of whipped topping on here. Now, you can do as many as you like or as little as you like. Okay, got our dollops on there, nice and pretty. And like I said, you can do any configuration you want. You can put little, just do your whipped topping around the top. You don't even have to put whipped topping on it. That's completely up to you. And then we'll take some of our animal crackers here. I'm just going to place them around the edges. So got a handful of them out. You know, I mean, I don't know if I'd recommend like broken ones, but you could have broken ones if that's what you like. You know, I mean, like I said, for the most part, you can do whatever it is you like to do with your cakes, especially when it comes to decorating. I mean, it's kind of like a free-for-all. But I thought this would look kind of cute with just some animal crackers, cookies, running around the edges here. All right, just like so, with a lovely elephant in the middle. But there, my friends, is our animal cracker cheesecake. I think it looks pretty awesome myself. I think. All right. So, give me 1 second to get everything cleaned up a little bit, and then we will cut into it and try a piece. All right, be right back. Okay, got everything kind of cleaned up, sort of. I thought we'd just try us a little bite here. Why not? No good place to cut it, really. It just looks so pretty. Oh, grab a paper towel here. So, just so you know, because I didn't do it, but I could have, to avoid that mess on your knife, if you warm it up in warm water first, even if you just have a cup of warm water sitting here and you soak it in there, wipe it off to warm the knife up, it saves you a whole lot of mess like that. And I don't know why I didn't do it, but I didn't, and that's okay. Yep. That's okay. Actually, I'll just take you and use you to get this bad boy out of there. Yep, see where I miffed it up there in the center by not warming my knife up. It kind of screwed up my piece. That's all right. That's all right. Get this up here so I can show you what the inside of your cake looks like. That's what the inside of your cake is going to look like. Turned out nice and firm. I can tell you it's not dry, and that's okay. Let me get that, clean up that corner piece there. I know I'm making a mess of things, aren't I? But there we are. That is our piece of cake. Presentation is not something to be less desired, I guess, in this case, but that's all right. Because like I've often said on several occasions, I am by no means a professional baker. I am a guy who likes to bake cakes, pies, cheesecakes, cookies. I just like to bake. And that, to me, that's 90% of the battle right there. Yeah, although, I mean, business has picked up. Look at it. Isn't that pretty? I think that's absolutely outstanding. Well, let's give it a shot in its entirety and see how it tastes. That's really good. I mean, if you like cheesecake, which I adore cheesecake, it's like my favorite thing ever. But it tastes like an animal cookie, a nice animal cookie, and cheesecake, which is what we were going for, right? So, that's delicious. Yeah, I am digging that wholeheartedly. Sorry about that. If you happen to see my finger come up in this video, my alarm was going off telling me to remind me to take my medicine. But, wow, that is really good. I love cheesecake. It makes me smile. You could be having the worst day ever, and I believe cheesecake will turn that all around. You know, if you could start every day, breakfast, cheesecake, your day would be great every day. But, anyhow, try this. It's not a hard cheesecake to make. you know, dare I'd say it'd even be a good first cheesecake, and everybody will be like, "Oh my God, that is amazing! You are a genius." I guarantee it. Do a different. You could do different designs on the top of it. You know, do like a little circus animal thing going on there. I think that would be awesome. But either way, try this and let me know if you do. Either leave me a comment down below or jump onto our Facebook group and let me know there. Send me a picture of it. That would be awesome. I would love to see pictures of your guys' baked goods and your dinner ideas. Either way. So, yeah, let me know if you try this. I'd like to know either way if you liked it, didn't like it, if you do something different, if you, you know, have a different recipe. Either way it goes. Or if you have any ideas for desserts. But, yeah, try this. Please, try this. You won't be disappointed, I guarantee it. Next week, I don't really know what we're doing as of yet, but we'll definitely be doing dinner and dinner and a movie. No, dinner and dessert. Dessert-wise, I think we're going to do potato candy. We're getting near Christmas. Excuse me. We're getting near Christmas, and I would like to do some Christmas things with you. And potato candy, I know at my house we always had it around Christmas time, and it's really good and it's really easy to make. My dad used to make it for us as kids, and I always thought it was the greatest thing ever, and I would like to have you share that with me, that experience with me. So we're going to do that, and then somewhere down the road I'd really like to do stained glass cookies, which are awesome, a little complex but awesome. And then I don't know, I've got a couple, 2, 3 other ideas, but for sure the potato candy next week. Dinner, I really don't know yet, but we'll figure it out, I promise. So until next week, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. Take them a piece of this cheesecake. They'll know. I guarantee it. So, till next week, I love you. I'll talk to you later. All right? Bye.